Hello, I'm Eric.
And I'm Melissa.
And today we're going to do our June monthly pickup video.
And our C3 and Too Many Games pickup video.
That's right, we're combining them. Alright. Let's do June and we'll have plenty to talk about with Too Many Games.
Just get June out of the way.
Alright, we're just going to get June out of the way. Okay, so a couple of retail sales. I think finally pulled the trigger on Astrobot PSVR. I hear good things.
Yes, you hear.
What is it? Is there a glare?
It's still sealed.
Still sealed? Yeah, well, we haven't been home. Alright, and then another one, Doom VFR.
I want to see you play that. See how far you get.
It took me like 6 months to figure out why this was called VFR. Why there was an F in it. I'm an idiot. Alright, and then another, I sat on this for a while and I finally just pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Maybe because I was ordering another one of these games. Life is Strange Before the Storm, limited edition. I have one of the Life is Strange games, I think the first one. This one, I bought the limited edition because it was the same price as the regular edition. I think it was like $12.
Yeah.
So I decided to pull the trigger, even it's on Game Pass, which I signed up for. So still, I got the physical of 2 Life is Strange. And then, something that I pre-ordered months and months ago.
Yes.
Finally was released and shipped out, and that is Final Fantasy Ultimania Archive Volume 3. This is the third of the 3 that I have. This covers 11 through 14. Unfortunately, it doesn't cover 15. 10. Oh, sorry, 10. 10 through 14. Presumably, maybe when a few more games come out, they'll do 15 and the rest. But I'd like to say I've been really enjoying these books. I don't think I've opened any.
I know.
But
really
I'm sure they're really nice. So I have all 3 now, so very excited to crack into some of those. And that will actually wrap up the June.
Again, we're slowing
June
down.
Pickups.
For regular pickups. But that's because we've got too many games.
We knew Too Many Games was coming up.
Yep. Okay.
And C3. So let's start with C3, which is of course what?
Cartridge Club Con.
Cartridge Club Con.
It's the second year.
That's right.
Second annual.
Yeah, we can say annual now. Second annual.
It was in Philadelphia this year. It's kind of centered around Too Many Games. If you wanted to come to Too Many Games, you could do that first, and then the Monday after Too Many Games is the day that we had our like C3 day. And so it was us all in a hotel room, all in a hotel conference room, I should say, not in one hotel room.
Yeah.
And we did live podcasting, hanging out, and an all-around good time.
It was a good time. Yeah,
Yes.
good time. We were up all the time.
Yes, it was. So we
Late every night,
came in on Friday day, I should say, like afternoon, and we stayed up Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night.
Till
we
like
kind
2
of
or
go
3
to bed.
3 a.m. every night.
Yeah, it was great times. Good times. Good times.
There were actually some pickups from the C3 Cartridge Club crew.
Yes.
That I want to go through.
Ourselves.
That were separate from the Too Many Games pickups. So I thought we would go through those first. And I'm going to start with this. This is actually the first thing that I received, and this is the Starlink Cerberus Starship Pack. Now this is exclusive to GameStop. No GameStops around here had it, and GameStop has what I consider to be outrageous shipping fees, so I just on principle didn't order it through them. So it wasn't clear that I was ever going to get this, but up in Canada, EB Games had it on sale for a very good price, and Cartridge Club friend Derek of Two Dorks grabbed one for me, held it for a little while, and it was hand delivered by none other than Bill of STC Pod.
Yes.
So I got this exclusive ship. This actually rounds out all of the Starship packs, all of the starships, and I think pilots and weapons for the original, at least. I think they might be making more, but I'm not sure, of the original Starlink. So set?
I would say set.
Maybe subset, but let's just go with set complete. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Bill. They delivered this to me on the first night of C3. And then, in addition to that, another Cartridge Club friend of ours, Buried on Mars, none other than Buried on Mars, Kevin delivered, I had bought some Game Gear games from him last year, and he delivered one that had been misplaced, and I guess he saw this book at somewhere, and he saw Sega and Genesis and thought that I should have this. So he brought me this book as a gift. Interestingly, it says Sega and Genesis, but really it just covers, we would think it would cover Master System. It doesn't. It covers only Genesis and TurboGrafx, some TurboGrafx. So I don't know what they meant by Sega and Genesis. They certainly didn't mean Master System, but I don't care. It covers Genesis.
Even though this kind of looks like a Master System.
Yeah, I don't think any of these are Master System games. If I'm wrong, I'll put an annotation.
No.
But I don't think I'm wrong. So anyway, thank you, Buried on Mars, for the book. Let me do this one next. Scott, VG Collectaholic. I had expressed an interest in this game. This is a Taxan game. I was collecting the Taxan series games at PRGE, and so I've been interested in this. And it turns out that the Flock of Nerds also did a podcast discussing this game recently, and Travis from Polykill did a NES Friend about this game. So this game is, for some reason, in the Cartridge Club getting a lot of airtime. I only wanted it because it's a Taxan game, and that's one of the publishers I'm collecting for. So Scott gifted this to me, and that was very nice of him. So thank you, Scott, for another Taxan game.
Did you say that it was Mystery Quest?
Did I say it was Mystery Quest?
I don't know if you did.
It is.
I guess it'll show
Mystery
up in
Quest.
The picture over here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, and then the last thing I want to mention. There's another thing, but the next thing I want to mention are I did a trade with old Ryan. It's Rocket Sauce.
There's a lot of name dropping going on.
Well, I want to mention the people that gave me gifts. I'm not going to mention what I traded this for. Maybe he'll mention it. He doesn't do pickup videos, so I don't know. But I'm not going to ruin that part of it. It's a future Cartridge Club game. I'll say that much. And he, in turn, gave me a Genesis 1 SCART and a SNES SCART, which, as I understand it, will work with the N64 that he had modded. So I'm looking forward to trying these out. I will use the Genesis 1 for my Master System, probably, or for a Genesis 1. And I'll use the SNES 1 for the N64. So really digging RGB through the FrameMeister. All right, so that does it for gifts and trades. And then another Cartridge Club pal of ours who we got to meet for the first time, NJ Retro, showed up on Saturday and brought tubs and tubs and tubs of games. And said he brought a tub of manuals, and he said, "This is for QDawg." So I started there and actually did grab a bunch of manuals and a few games. And I know a bunch of other people got some really good deals from Jason. So thank you for that, NJ Retro. And let's just dig right in. This, it turns out, are the only manuals I got.
Oh my goodness, no manuals
the whole weekend.
And too many games?
So no. So let's start with this one. This was a little bit of a gem. Sega Sports Pad manual. Now I have this complete in box, but it doesn't hurt to have a spare manual. So grabbed that as soon as I saw it. A couple of other, so now moving into NES, I got Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I don't have this game, but I'd like to. And I don't know if I see this manual very often, so I grabbed that. Cobra Command. Another game I don't have. But there's a helicopter. It looks like helicopters and stuff. Data East. So yeah, I'll probably get that game someday. I do have this game. This was actually a gift from Retro Pixel. Last C3 in 2018. WCW versus NWO World Tour. So now I can complete that. I don't have the box, but for N64, I count cartridge and manual. And then another manual I was really excited to see. This is, the pronunciation is right here, but I don't know these symbols, so I'm just going to make it up anyway. I call this Daedalian Opus, or Daedalian Opus. This is a puzzle game for the Game Boy. I remember reading about it in Game Pro magazine, and never thought I'd have the manual for this. I was really excited to see that, grabbed it, and also grabbed Lilo and Stitch 2. Big Cartridge Club game, hidden gem, the Lilo and Stitch games for the Game Boy Advance. I know that one of the recent Cartridge Club portable games was Lilo and Stitch. I don't know anything about Lilo and Stitch 2. Hopefully it's more of the same, but I decided to just go ahead and grab the manual because it was there. Don't have the game yet. So now we're going to move into some Atari manuals. Again, grabbing stuff I don't normally see. Lock and Chase, I don't have this game, but it's an M Network game, so I'm probably going to get it eventually. Miniature Golf, I do have this game.
They made a game out of they made a video game out of miniature golf.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Moon Patrol, I don't have this game. I do for the 5200.
You should have like a counter down here.
I know, I will.
Okay.
Video Checkers.
Ew.
These are all on the wish list, so they count.
Of course they are.
And then I found this. This was interesting, so I grabbed it. This is Atari Force, issue number 2. This is actually an Atari comic. Now, I knew I had another one of these. It turns out I have number 3 that came with my Star Raiders, complete in box version of Star Raiders, which I got at Midwest Gaming Classic in 2018. So now I have Atari Force 2 and 3. Presumably there's a 1. That's probably really hard to get.
Yes.
I don't know how many go past that, but I saw this, so I grabbed it. And then moving into 5200, Countermeasure. This is a game I do have. Missile Command. I have this game and the manual. I think I didn't have my printouts with me.
Oh right.
So
that's
I had to make a guess, and I figured, well, just throw it in just in case. But this is actually not a substantial, but a noticeable upgrade from the one I have, and then Real Sports Soccer. I knew I didn't have this game. I have the soccer variant, so I grabbed the manual, but I also already have the Real Sports Soccer manual, so this was another duplicate.
Oh boy.
But
those do look like.
I gotta tell you, I paid pennies for these things.
Yeah.
Jason, NJ Retro, gave us a really good deal.
Yep.
So then I also found in there, and I snagged these up right away, because you almost never see these. They are 5200 overlays, and you gotta grab these things. I didn't have any of these. Centipede, there's only one of these, but having one is better than having none. Defender, Galaxian,
Oh my goodness.
Kicks, and Star Raiders, which is a little damaged. Looks like it's got a little chewy action.
What did you call it? Chewy damage?
A dog got a hold of that one.
I'm gonna hold off on
It's
this
a
one.
little chewy.
I'll wait for it.
I already have 2 of these because somehow I got Star Raiders with that. And then a really neat find, I think, and I'm trying not to wreck it, are the Pac-Man ones. I also already have the 2 Pac-Man ones, but these are in the card back still. They haven't been punched out. They're loose. They're about to fall out. But definitely wanted to grab those. Grabbed every one I could. I didn't care if I had them or not. I just grabbed them. And then he had some ColecoVision manuals, and I think I grabbed every ColecoVision manual there was. Rocky, don't have this game, but now I'm going to go get it.
Of course.
This is for the Super Action controllers,
Yeah.
which I have, and Space Fury, which is a game I grabbed, I think this year, either at the Swap Meet or Collins. And then there were 2 more overlays. These are for ColecoVision. There is Mousetrap, which I thought I had. This looks very familiar, but I don't think I have it. And then Super Action Baseball, which I only had 1 of, and now I have another, so that's cool. So I completed that set. And then I did get 2 games while I was pawing through the manuals. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was going after the games, so
yes.
I don't know if I think I missed some pretty good ones.
That's okay.
But I did get a few that I wanted for the collection. Vigilante 8 Second Offense for the Sega Dreamcast. Cool. And Dead Rising Shop Till You Drop. I was actually surprised I didn't have this.
Yeah.
These are complete. So, thank you, NJ Retro. He gave me a fantastic deal on these, especially for some of these manuals. I think I'm really happy to have. So,
That's exciting.
awesome pickup there.
Yes.
And that definitely helped out with some things going on with TMG, which now we can move into. So, why don't you talk? Talk to us about TMG. Too many games.
So, I got my shirt.
Yeah, and she's got a shirt.
It's like the Animal Crossing.
That's why we got it, right?
That's why we got it.
Because we figured you
No,
liked
this
Animal
one's
Crossing.
mine. Because see, mini boss.
Oh, where's mine?
I'm the mini boss. I'm the mini boss.
She got the mini boss package.
I got the mini boss package.
Which we got Cartridge Club arranged for us to get slight discounts, or maybe it was NJ Retro arranged for us to get some slight discounts, but they were only good for the 3-day pass.
I know.
But Mrs. Fancy Pants over here wanted the mini boss package, which came with a shirt
Yes.
and a bunch of extra raffle tickets, which did nothing.
Which didn't do anything.
Which we didn't.
That's okay.
but there was no discount for those. So these are our land. Boy, we're getting quite a collection of these.
I know.
These passes
Pretty cool.
now.
And then
we got a nice booklet here.
I know, we got this nice booklet and it talked about the guests and the schedule, and so that's kind of cool. So we got one of these.
Okay.
It's pretty thick.
All right.
And then, yeah, we got those were in the wrong spot.
Yeah. You want to do it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
We
since
should
we
go back.
mentioned it, so you
Go
take
back
this
to
one.
C3.
All right, so these we actually got at C3 too, as well.
Our friend Nintendo Hodge.
Nintendo Hodge.
His wife.
P-E-L-L-E.
Yes.
Pell on Twitter. There's a number, but I don't remember what it is.
We'll put it
Yeah,
down
yeah,
there.
I want it.
So she does a bunch of 3D printing, and he had a bunch of stuff, but they make these little ornaments. So we got a 64 one and an NES one.
NES one, yeah.
She needs to make Master System ones.
Yeah, well, he's Nintendo Hodge.
Just
So.
saying.
Yeah, these are really cool. They gave us these for because we hand delivered a game to Nintendo Hodge for Father's Day, and if you want to see what that game is, check out his Too Many Games pickup video. But they gifted us these, so these are cool.
Thank you.
We will. These are ornaments, right? So
I
we're
know.
gonna hang them
I'm
on
hanging them on the tree.
Hang them on the tree.
Yep.
All right. So
Okay.
those are the little doodads we got. We
All
got
right.
the doodads.
So back
All right.
to
So what
Too
about
Many
the other
Games,
Too Many
and then
Games doodads?
Nintendo just had like a random table like in the arcade area, just giving away stuff. I don't know if they were supposed to be like saying stuff
Oh,
or
this is a
what.
nice bag.
I know. So we got this bag.
What is this?
It says Nintendo Switch, and I don't know, like this. I don't know what. I guess
All
you
right.
could tighten it. I'm not sure why.
All right.
Anyway, so this is good.
That's nice.
And then I packed it full of stickers, and then there was pencils, and then like later on, then she started pulling more stuff
I
out,
didn't see
and
any
then
of this stuff.
she pulled out a package of 4 pencils, so I grabbed that one too. And then, cause see, we can keep this one in the package, and then we can give these 3 to the girls. See how that works? And then we got a coin eraser.
Is that an eraser or
Yeah,
a
it's an
sharpener?
eraser. No, I feel that it's an eraser.
Alright.
And then this like
What is that?
it's a Nintendo Labo
Decorator kit?
decorator kit. Yeah, it comes with 2 markers.
It's pretty cool. We don't have Lambo, but
Not yet. Oh yeah, like you're gonna.
all right. I gotta do your face. All right. Okay, so that's it for Nintendo junk paraphernalia. Swag. Sorry.
Swag, please. Swag.
I'm gonna get comments for that.
There you go. All right.
right.
So the first day we kind of separated, and we brought our oldest Ellie, and
That's
so
right.
she and I were kind of going around, and we were looking for stuff for ourselves, and so we found these. She found these Pokemon buttons. There's 4 of them, and the 3 of them are the girls' favorites. So each girl will get a button, and then there'll be an extra one, I guess, for me.
Which one's the extra?
I don't remember.
Okay, we don't remember.
I think
the
it's this green one.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know what the name
Pikachu,
is. This is
Squirtle, Charmander,
Charmander,
Charizard,
yeah.
whatever.
I don't remember. Who
We don't
the
know
green ones.
Pokemans.
So
Pokemons.
anyway, or maybe I'll give it to Ellie because she was there.
Those Pokemans on the Nintendo tapes.
Yes.
All right, so now for the real pickups.
Oh please.
This was supposed to be the an
Primo.
expo of Primo.
That's right. Primo
stuff.
We were gonna
And
be like few
really the heavy hitters.
Like because we're only gonna bring like a couple things back with us because we're flying. Yeah.
The heavy hitters were way overpriced. In fact, I found TMG to be a little bit more expensive than I was expecting.
Okay.
And there were a couple of places that had some really good stuff, and they weren't budging. I grabbed together. There was this one item that I was interested in. It was the Alex Kidd BMX for the Japanese Sega Master System. I'd never seen one of these before in real life. They had a really nice copy there. It was a little bit overpriced. It was about 20% overpriced from what I can get it on eBay. And so we were trying to throw together, and there was a bunch of stuff there, right? I mean, VG Collectaholic, Travis, who else? Dean, probably. Some other people. We were all trying to put together a big bundle to see if we could get them to budge at all. They wouldn't budge at all. So we walked away from that booth without getting anything. They did have Die Hard Arcade. They had Mobile Light Force, which I have never seen in 6 years of looking for it. I should have probably gone back and gotten that one. I could have paid, because that one is cheap, so a few dollars overpriced isn't a big deal. Percentage-wise, it's a big deal. But, so I got a few items, and we'll talk about them at the end. I got a few items from my top 5 list.
Okay.
But, for the most part, you're going to find out what we ended up getting. I'm going to start with this big guy. This was an impulse right at the end of the expo.
Right at the end.
So we were walking around, Duke
walking
and Buried on Mars, Retro Nonsense and Buried on Mars, and I were walking around trying to find a deal on an Atari 7800. Well, this is not an Atari 7800. We were looking for it for Kevin. And so we kept going to all these places where we had seen 7800s, and one of them had this guy sitting on the table. And while Kevin was negotiating, trying to get a deal on a 7800, I saw this. It was listed at 50, and I just threw out 40. It was the end of the expo. It was complete in box. It was big. I just said, will you take 40? And the guy said, sure. And I thought it was complete in box. There's a manual in here. It turns out it's a manual for a Genesis Model 2 with columns. It had a columns manual in it. It was sealed. So they just threw it in there and tricked me. This isn't complete in box, but I do finally have the 6-button in box. I have the 3-button arcade stick loose. So I thought this would be neat just to have for the collection. $40, whatever. It's fine. Whatever, 40 bucks. And the reason why I was so cavalier about it is because I had spent very little otherwise, and you'll see why. What I ended up doing for most of the expo was going around and finding really cheap Atari games. I was hanging out with Retro Nonsense with Duke. He was telling me on the first day there's a bin, and Kevin too, there's a bin over there with $1 Atari games. We were buy 2, get 1 free, whatever, so we started doing that. On the second day, we were running around that place looking for all the dollar bins of Atari games. That's what I ended up getting, except for a couple items, which are my favorite items of the pickup. Most of these were like $1 or $2. And so, lots of good stuff here. Let's just start shooting through it. I got almost exclusively Atari 2600 games. Except for one game. Yeah. I got Atari only at TMG. The only other 2 games I got were from NJ Retro that aren't Atari. Everything is Atari except for one game. Anyway, the first one is I've been collecting these third-party games. Megaforce. This was in a 2-for-1 bin, I think, or $2 bin or something. And Duke was like, "That's a good game. Okay, for $2, I don't care." Strawberry Shortcake musical matchups. I totally wanted this game. This game is fantastic. It's not because it's just a Parker Brothers game and I'm collecting that subset. Yeah. It's a Parker Brothers game I didn't have, so I grabbed it.
Where do you keep your Atari ones? I forget.
They're up in the Nintendo cabinet, but when you're not paying attention, I'm gonna move them into your cabinet. Yep. All right. So let's do some more third party. Let me start with these. Whenever I go looking for these, another subset, I almost never see any of the ones other than the ones that I have. And this person had 2 of them. They were a little bit pricey, but I didn't care because I'd never seen them before. They are the Coleco Mr. Do for the Atari and Rock and Rope for the Atari by Coleco. So add 2 more Coleco games to the Atari 2600 collection. That's exciting. And of course, I'm collecting the Activision games.
Of course.
And these are hard to collect because the labels on Activision games
they get all like
god awful. They're terrible. But this one wasn't too bad. Plaque Attack. Didn't have this one.
Is that about teeth?
I think it is about teeth. And then a couple of these are re-releases of both. It's strange because they're both Activision and Imagic. These Blue Label, and I grab these when I can't, when I don't have them. Moonsweeper, which isn't an Imagic game. I call it Imagic, like Imagine, but Imagic. Some people call it iMagic. Or some people call it Imagic. I don't know if that's true. All right, so I got Moonsweeper.
You're saying that these are like reprints? Are these like?
They're like.
Are these like?
In the like late. I don't know. I think they're late generation, like late '80s.
They wouldn't be like the greatest hits like are now, right? Where they go cheaper and.
They probably were. They probably were.
Like they were already out one time, but now they're out like as the
I think they're re-releases. Yeah, because when I got Enduro in 1989, it came with the Blue Label. So I think these are later. But I grab them. This one I wasn't going to buy at first, the first day.
I know.
Because it's got a piece in it. But then this bin, it went from $4. Like the ones I bought the first day were $4. Then Retro Nonsense was like, that guy's selling them for $2 now. I'm like, oh, great. I paid $4 yesterday. And then when we went, I said, go see if you can get these. I had 9 games.
Yeah.
Go see if you can get these for $15 instead of $18.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, those are $1. So in a span of like a half an hour between Duke and me, the guy dropped it from $2 to $1. Or you got the clerk was wrong and he just gave it. Anyway, for $1, I don't have this game. I got the manual at some point in the past. So Space Shuttle, A Journey into Space. I thought for $1, I'll add this to the collection. I don't care. I'd rather have the game than for $1 than walk past it. So then, oh man, I don't know who I have to blame for this. Duke and our friend Chris Roberts.
I think just Duke. Like, well, all right.
No. These guys have got me into collecting the telegames.
I'm blaming Chris too. So
these were all $1.
I better see him soon.
This is part of the group of 9.
I have some words.
Yeah. So I started collecting the telegames. I only had a couple. I added 5 more. These are not interesting ones. At least by my reckoning, they're not interesting because they like have the same. I'm kind of going for the telegames that have different names from the Atari counterparts. This one is one of them. This is baseball. It's home run for the Atari, or by Atari. Bowling. I should probably just show this part. This number here doesn't mean anything. It means the number of game variants. It's not the game number, like the title. This is bowling. It's called Bowling for the Atari. I have that. This is Breakaway 4 or Breakout. Here's a good one. Gunslinger. This is Outlaw for the Atari. I do have that. And then finally, Space Combat. This is one that's red label. Interesting red label. Space Combat. I think this is Space War for the Atari. So I started adding the telegames, and I spent a great deal of time updating my spreadsheet wish list with all of the telegames games.
You mean after this or before?
After.
Oh,
Since we've been back. All right. Now this group I am excited about. These I never had these before.
These are fancy.
I never had any like this before. These are the red labels that came out, I think, when the Atari Junior, the under $50.
Under $50? $50?
Version came out in like 87 or 88 to compete with the Nintendo. They re-released a bunch of their old games with these red labels. And I never had any, and I finally got one. And the first one I grabbed, I was really happy to get, is Desert Falcon. This I know as a 7800 game. When I found out there was a 2600 version, I wanted to get it. I love to compare these old games between different systems. Presumably the 7800 version will be much better.
Now, are you gonna get all the red ones?
Yeah.
So,
why not?
Okay.
We'll see.
So
I'm not
for
sure.
a subset?
I am going for it. We'll see if I can do it.
This one was actually a gift from Retro Nonsense.
Ooh.
There's a story. He was with me when I happened to pick up one of my favorite games, and so he had expressed an interest in the game, and I felt kind of bad because I was like, "Oh, are you sure you don't want it?" He said, "No, you take it." So I'm like, "Okay." So I took it, but then I knew I was just going to give it to him. So I gave him a game, and I think in return he returned the favor and gave me Junior Pac-Man. This is one that was in the top 100 games of 1977 to 87. It's a book by Brett Weiss. So I had added this to the list, and I actually been looking for about a year, and Duke gave it to me.
Oh,
And then he also got a copy.
Oh, good.
He found a second copy, so that was nice. And then another one I've been looking for about a year that I know from the Atari under $50 commercial.
$50?
Is Midnight Magic. It's mentioned by name in that commercial.
Solaris is hot and Midnight Magic's mean.
My youngest daughter knows that song, and so I bought this so that she and I could play it together. And she asked me all day yesterday, can we play? And I said, well, I need to clean it and test it, and I never got around to it, so hopefully I'll get to that soon because she wants to play. Hopefully I'll be able to do that before she just loses interest in her father. And so really excited to get some
You've got like 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Red label games, those are my first ones, and they're all 3 really good ones. Okay.
Oh my goodness, we still got
I've been
another
talking
stack?
a lot. Yeah, okay, so these are just plain old Atari games. Some of them have manuals. These are actually manuals that came in the NJ Retro pile, so I put them in with the game.
Oh,
I bought the manuals, and then the next day I found the games for them.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
So let me just start with this one, because this is actually a variant, Circus Atari, I have the picture label version, but when I saw this text label, I love these old style text labels. I grabbed it. This again was a buck.
All about the variants.
So yeah, I'm really, it's bad because I'm getting into 2600 variants. Okay, why don't you do these?
All right, fine.
Because there's not much to say.
Okay.
These were dollar games. They were in good
games that
shape.
you
This
found.
one was $2.
Crystal Castles with a funky bear.
Silver
in it.
layer. Silver label.
Silver.
A little bit later generation game. What does
Okay.
it say?
Doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I think it's later.
Bentley Bear's Amazing Adventures.
All right.
That's what that is. All right, so here is Human Cannonball with the manual. Okay.
Great.
Oh, here's another silver label.
This
Pole
was on the wish
position.
list. Yep, pole position.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have this for the 5200 and pole position 2 for the 7800. So we'll see how the 2600 version fares.
And then another plain label slot machine with the manual. Okay. Do you have this? Is there another label variant for this?
I don't know. That's
Okay.
the first one I have.
All right. And then you've got slot racers. Yep.
And that's a game I already have the manual for.
All right.
In fact, there's a couple here that I already have the manual for.
Cool.
Midnight Magic and stuff. Okay, so lots of Atari games. 24 total. There are 2
Wow.
left, or 3 left, I guess,
Yeah.
that we haven't covered yet.
Goodness.
That represent these 4 games are my favorite games of the
Favorite pickups.
favorite
of the
pickups
weekend?
of the weekend.
The TMG.
I think
weekend.
I've shown 2 of these already in a Twitter, but one of them I have not, and that is this one in box, and it is Basic Programming Complete in Box.
In
Box, manual, cartridge, and most importantly, the keyboard controller overlays, for which this game is it's very difficult to play without them because the buttons on the keyboard controller are overloaded like 3 times. They have 3 different functions depending on the context of the game. I got a loose cartridge of this as a gift from Chris Roberts, and I knew that it was going to be very difficult to play without the manual or the keyboard overlay, so I always wanted to get the complete version. And what's good about this is that this is actually the text label version, like like one of these other
Like
games,
this one here.
like this,
Yeah.
and
What he got you.
and he got me the picture label version, so now I have both variants plus a complete copy. So really happy to get this. It's apparently worth a little bit more than the guy was asking, and I had him I got it for $10. And I got it, he was asking $15, I got him to knock $5 off. It's worth a little bit more than that. Really good shape, really happy to get that. So,
Plus, it's the special edition. Did you see that?
special, yeah, that's the edition.
I know.
All right, so now I'm trying to decide, should I do these 2 or
I don't know.
people are going to care less about this? Let me
Yeah,
do
let's
this
do
one
this
because
one.
no one cares about this
No,
but me.
no.
This is Alex Kidd in Miracle World. This is a US release. I already have it. What is special about this is that it is the 1990 variant with the action logo up here, bold text. The icon is bigger and centered. The side is bolded. The spine is bolded. And the back has, instead of 2 pictures across the top with text, it has 4 pictures down the side, the text, and then a summary box down here. This is one of the 1990 variants. There's maybe a half a dozen games that have this, and John Hancock did a whole video about these things. I gotta do something to buy Master System games. I looked everywhere for import games.
Imports.
None of them were worthy of purchase. They either were
No
way
manual.
too priced, or they most usually they had no manual.
Yeah.
Which was really disappointing because I must have seen a half a dozen import games that I would have bought that they didn't have a manual, and I had to walk away from them because there's no way I'm finding import manuals. So I was really disappointed with that. But I saw this on the first day, and I asked the guy to go to a particular price. He wouldn't. The next day, the last day, I had you go up to
Oh,
him,
yeah, that was me. I did it.
ask for that price, and they said sure.
I said
So,
cash.
Cash.
I showed him cash in hand.
So really, I guess, excited to have this. It's a variant, a little hard to come by, but and a little bit pricey. I think they were charging a little more than what this game normally goes for. I don't know if they knew what they had or not, but I knew what they had. I was happy to pay it.
You're getting like Chris Roberts now with the variants.
I'm totally
Like
into the
he's
variants.
got like how many?
For Atari and
Super
for-
Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, I don't do NES variants too much, but all right. the final two are the pickups of the expo. These are games that have been on my wish list for a really long time.
Yes, they have.
Let's start with the one on top.
The one on top?
Yep.
All right, it is Ghostbusters for the Atari 2600.
With the logo label. Now, apparently, a bunch of people in the Cartridge Club were looking out for this for me. Because
for you. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, were you competing?
No. I got a couple of messages about this. The first one I got, the label was in pretty bad shape.
Oh yeah, I remember
right
that.
here on the crease. It was all white. It wasn't looking good, and I think they wanted 15 or something. I later got a message from It's Rocket Sauce Ryan. He found a different one, and it was in much better shape. It's a little yellowed, but I said, yeah, go for it, and he was able to get it for 10. So really excited to have this, and further excited to know that this actually works.
Yay!
I haven't tested anything else. I've tested this and the next cartridge. So this has been on my wish list for about 6 years.
Yeah.
Ever since our first PRGE, I think, where I did see it once or twice and didn't buy it because it was $10. I'm like, that's crazy. Well, I ended up paying $10 for it 6 years later, which is actually cheaper if you count for inflation.
Okay.
All right, but the number one game, this I was at the booth. I was buying some $2 games. I looked up, and there was this guy sitting in a plastic case.
Oh,
and I saw
that means it's expensive.
I saw the price, and I was like, that's about 25% under market price. What's going on? And so I wasn't really thinking clearly. The label was in good shape. I had Duke with me. This is why he was my good luck charm. Why I gave him the other one of the games that I bought. Did I mention what that was already?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why I gifted him one of the games. I think I was going to gift it to him anyway, but he was there when we found this, and it is
Hero.
Now, this is a game that's been on my wish list for a while, and I know that Duke recently got a copy. I think quite a number of people are looking for this. I thought the price was really reasonable, and it actually made me a little nervous because when I started later that night, I looked at the contacts and I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
these look a little suspicious. And I showed it to Duke and I showed it to Kevin, and they were like, it'll probably work. It'll probably be fine. So we've been on our trip for like 2 weeks.
I know. We
so.
even tried to. You tried to find an Atari because they had systems there that you could play, but they had zip tied all the games into them. And even Duke, you even gave this to Duke on Sunday because we weren't there Sunday morning. We came a little bit later to try to find a place to play this, to test it, so that if it didn't work, we could still take it back before the show is over.
No such luck.
No, so it's been like bugging you for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I've been constantly bugged by it, but it was a concern. I knew I wanted to test it right away. So when we got home, I jumped out of bed early and
yes, you did.
Ran downstairs, cleaned it up real quick, plugged it in, and it works fine.
Did you clean
Worked right out of the gate.
You
Boom.
cleaned it first?
I cleaned the contacts. A little Brasso. It'll be fine. Little Brasso on it, little alcohol to wipe it down, clean out the inside, and plugged it in, and it came right up. I was very relieved. Really glad to finally have Hero in the collection, along with Ghostbusters and 22 other new Atari games.
I feel like you saw this at PRGE last year, and you kind of really wanted it, but it was just.
I don't know. Yeah, it was like $60 or something, and the label wasn't any good. This is probably one of the better labels I've seen, and I think the price was right.
Cool.
I'll simply say it was under 40. I thought the market price was 45. I paid 35. That's what the guy asked. I didn't even negotiate with him, Bill. I didn't even negotiate. I'm just like, here you go, take my money.
See,
I'm disappointing Bill and Chris.
All I had to do there was be quiet.
Yeah, I know.
You can just keep talking.
So Bill will be glad that I revealed the price. He'll be disappointed that I didn't negotiate. Yeah. Chris Roberts will be disappointed, but what can you do? I was caught up in the moment, and Duke was with me. It was a lot of fun. So that is it. Those are our TMG pickups. Man, this is a long video.
It is. I guess we did.
Lots of Atari. Lots of good stuff.
I was going to say, we didn't get too many games, but maybe we did.
We got too many Atari games.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, it's cool.
We have to, Do you just stack them, or are you gonna try to find some more decorative cases?
Those decorative cases take up a lot of
I know
space.
they do.
So I've been stacking them.
I know.
We'll see. We'll see when I move them into your cabinet and how I want to arrange them. Okay.
All right.
All right, that ought to do it. Anything else?
Nope. Let's
just cut it here.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. If you enjoyed the video, like us and subscribe.